before we run out of time, on what's been happening as far as the rest of Africa adventures are concerned. Marumo Gallants and both them and AmaZulu not being able to get positive results. It's always going to be tough away from home. But yeah, Greg, I don't know, man. Did you speak to Washington? Do you know what happened? Can you explain the saga?
No, I really don't know what's happening in that camp. But for them to travel with 12 players, which I mean they knew right from last season that they're gonna be playing the international tournament. I think they could have be well prepared, in terms of players and in terms of personnel generally. So that shows that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in terms of that team. But nevertheless, they see they have a goal to hang on because they lost 2-1, and if they can come back home and just they have to score one and get hope for a clean sheet. I think that will be the best for them, But they can do that. They can do that, They can do that in terms of the players they have and in terms of the new technical team. So for me, I think they still have a big chance because that away goal we favor them. So it's left for them now to come back home and try to get a goal and probably to get a clean sheet. I think they will go through to the next stage.
I guess. I mean, the hard lifting and the heavy work will have to happen here at home, Calvin. But just it's a bit comical. But at the same time, there's a bit of a national pride that's out there. For a team of ours to go out there, be so ill prepared, especially with a coach that they brought, I think, in like specifically for this reason, and then out the gates. We don't even have a proper squad for our games. What does this mean for their adventure? For me, it feels like it might end a bit soon.
Yeah, I think the coach and the management, they are the ones to be blamed in this situation. Players, they've got no control over this because they don't select themselves. Yes, you might train to raise your hand that you want to be part of the squad. But if management don't do their part, don't expect us to do anything. It might end soon, yes, true, based on the internal affairs and things that are happening in the boardroom. In terms of display, it could have been worse than the score that they got, but at least those players put up a fight. So I think the better planning and also the preparations needs to come handy, and the coach should know far better in coming into this stage and understand this tournament at this magnitude. If the Sundowns and the Chiefs and the Pirates have tested it, they should learn from that. It's not something that is foreign to us. There are some teams within the country that have participated in this tournament, and they do know that you need the personalities and the numbers. Hence, your Sundowns and other teams will make sure that they sign a big chunk of squad because they want to go further on this tournament. So to see a team in the PSL, in the Elite League, to go with 12 players, it's a kind of embarrassing, and it didn't give a good picture on our league to show us how prepared we are for international stage. So African tournaments that are being hosted, it's for us as a team to market yourself. Now you give yourself a bad marketing that you don't have your house in order. So I think that should be changed, and a better job should be done by management.
Thank goodness the rights are all up in the air and we can't see these games all willy-nilly. Otherwise, we would have been on national TV or international TV being embarrassed with such a poor planning episode.
There's no embarrassment, actually.
In going with 12 men?
This is the experience they are getting in the African continent, because on the comfort of the PSL, so much is on the silver platter. So now they are out on the African continent to test what it takes to be a champion. The reason why Sundowns is dominant on the African continent or in the PSL is simply because they have tested those challenges. But because of the deep pockets of Patrice Motsepe, they have not been able to sleep on the airports. They have had the likes of luxurious travel. And when they are en route to games, they have the comfort of those nice hotels. We are talking about 12 players. It's not new That's not news on the African continent. Many players, many teams have experienced the same.
No, team, no, team.
No.
How can you tell
You see,
players and say
you see,
you qualified for this tournament? You qualified for this tournament last season, not this season, and you have 1 month plus to prepare for you to get the players to be registered.
The problem, Craig, the problem was not to qualify. The problem is to understand the logistics required to participate in the CAF Champions League games.
Once you qualify, you need to know what you need to get to that stage. So why did you qualify in the first place?
This is what I'm saying. First and foremost, it's an indictment on the PSL. They should come up with a funding, an understanding, and indoctrination to these clubs that have qualified for the Champions League for the first time, to explain them to understand what it entails. Now, we have a club that has got players not yet registered. Maybe they have not even contracts. We are not sure about that. They don't know which players they're going to use on the African continent. So they are finding themselves in a dilemma where they cannot raise a team of players registered for CAF. They may be registered for PSL, but not CAF. So how do you get, as a PSL, as a brand, not to allow yourself to be embarrassed to the level we are speaking, 12 players traveling? Even my former club in Uganda never reached those levels. And then we're an amateur league then. How, in the 21st century, the PSL, one of the well-marketed leagues on the African continent, can we have a club representing South Africa on the African continent with 12 players? It should not be happening.
I agree. And you're right. There should be some sort of onboarding for those clubs that are going to participate in these competitions to know, hey guys, this is how these things work. I wonder if actually there was any kind of outreach from the league to say, gallants, here are some pro tips for you guys to navigate what is about to be some treacherous terrain. It didn't happen in the end, but let's hope they'll have a bigger squad. Now, speaking of handing things on a silver platter, Benni McCarthy didn't get a striker on a silver platter. Apparently, he wanted one of those from management, but also not a good start for them. You know, the thing is, when things don't start going well for Mr. McCarthy, he starts being vocal about it. So, Tim, are the wheels falling off?
Not really. He's mandated to create the strikers.
Yes.
He is the coach.
Yeah, he wants one from somewhere to come in. Then him and Bele will work with that guy.
Listen,
he is a striker. I must create one.
What do you mean create one?
Not even that. He didn't get where he is without a striker. He had the striker scoring the goals that made him second on the log. So it's more than that. He creates. When you have got your wife, your girlfriend, you don't go out looking for another one. You do the one you have got. That's your best.
No, so but I mean, saying he wants a striker suited for the continent. You've seen it with other teams when they're about to go on a big African adventure. They get a battle-tested, continental competition-tested striker most times. Doesn't always. You don't always get what you want, but surely that also helps.
Kebza, it's not true. He knew. And he told us that he's going to compete. So the league. You cannot find what you want.
Oh, they the CAF, you will compete. That's the message from me.
Yeah, but maybe he was still expecting the striker, guys. Can he do it without
strikers?
I don't know. He wanted one that was
one thing is different thing. He's got strikers in-house.
Yes, but he's saying he wants one with CAF experience.
No. There's no shop that sells experience in football.
No, but you have players who've been there, Tim. You know what he means. You know he wants players that have played at that level.
They won't come and fit in as a club. That's for sure.
Just a striker. It's just one striker. He wants one player. He doesn't want a whole squad overhaul. It's either to integrate one player, surely, no?
Assuming you're Majoro and you're hearing your coach saying he needs a striker, you are truly you are hearing your coach saying he needs a striker, and yet you are
Mhm.
there. The question: the game was played, and he fielded a striker. Did those strikers deliver? No. What do you do for them to deliver? You cannot clamor for what is not there, and he knows it. So at this moment in time, he's trying to shake the powers that be and listen and say, listen, don't come running to me or saying you're not getting results. Remain a bit because I didn't get what I wanted. So that's a cushion. It's a protection for himself. But he knows that he has got the strikers. He needs to coach those strikers to deliver. I'm not a believer in coaches coming and saying, no, I didn't get this player, that's why I'm not performing. You have to use what you have got at that moment in time and make those players deliver, because that's what you have got.
I guess you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, he has to work with what he has. But Greg, he said that performance, some of the players lack desire. Is it just a coach saying, listen, I need to create competition and depth, and maybe, some people might just be, kicked into gear?
For me, I mean, first of all, when Benny came in last season, he did very well. He knows quite well that if you come second in the league, you're definitely going to play the CAF Champions League, which, I mean, they were lucky enough to be in now. And yeah, as the guys are saying, he has strikers. You have Ntuli, you have Mojuro, you have Shaka Zulu. I think there's three strikers there that can, easily give you what you want. But go back to AmaZulu, in the league.
Are they champions? Are they Champions League strikers, Greg? Are they CAF Champions League strikers in your mind?
For me, for them to come second in terms of the league, I think for me, Ntuli is a CAF Champions League striker. Mojuro is a CAF Champions League striker. Shaka Zulu is a CAF Champions League striker. For me, that's my personal opinion. These are season strikers in the PSL, and PSL is one of the best leagues in terms of when you're playing against a team in Malawi or in Zimbabwe. But going back for AmaZulu, they didn't start the league very well with the NTN 8, and now they're sitting 15 on the log. They only score one goal. They only concede one goal. They haven't scored goal in the past 2 games. And playing against Big Bullets. I think Big Bullets, we need to give them respect coming from Malawi. I mean, this is a team that played 26 games. They have scored 44 goals. They have only conceded 14 goals, and they are 55 points and number 1 in the log in terms of the 16-man team in Malawi. So we need to give them credit, and they have been consistent in terms of the games they have been playing. So for them to come and get a win in South Africa, it's not a new thing. It's now for Benni to sit back and see what went wrong in that game and go to Malawi and get a goal, because right now AmaZulu need a goal as an urgent, because they haven't scored a goal for the past 2 games, which is unknown for, because you have 2 strikers there, which are the coaches there. You have Benni McCarthy, you have Nombete. As the guys are saying there, they should be, spending their energy teaching the guys how to score, because that's one thing they lack at this moment. So for me, I think AmaZulu going to Malawi, they need to up their game. They need to plan very well, and they will stop. I think a lot of noise has been made in terms of before the game was played. A lot of noise have been made in terms of how Malawi league is and how they are going to win that game. So I think sometimes it might be motivation to the other team, which, I mean, they came and get a good victory in Durban there.
Yeah, no, there we go. Big ups to the Malawian team for traveling and getting a big result on the road. Will Benni McCarthy be able to turn it around? Remember, he turned down the opportunity to sign Justin Shonga, saying that he needed someone to come in and hit the ground running, which I guess then would then say that any other striker coming in would have fallen under that same argument. So why did he want a striker if one that's, had experience in the local league and could have been fit by now was turned down? So you're right, maybe Tim, he's buying himself some time and to be able to say, hey, but I did ask for a striker, at which point management will say, well, you let Shonga walk out the door. So I guess the time will come for Benni McCarthy to prove himself on this stage in particular. That away leg is going to be very crucial, and I think will kind of set the tone for the rest of his AmaZulu stay for the rest of the season anyway. So let's see how they navigate that one. And of course, Gallants, they have a goal to their name, so things could still be in their favor once they get their house in order, which they didn't when they traveled with 12 players. Gents, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate hanging out with you this evening. Kelvin Sosibo, Greg Atafia, Timothy Batabayer. I hope you guys have enjoyed the discussion. Those of you watching us on YouTube Live, thank you so much for joining us on a Monday. And those who catch this turned around, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Gents, thank you. Have a great week. And we'll do this again in a week's time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks.
There we go.
Bye.
Good night to everybody who's been tuned in. Big ups to Fidel behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons. Thanks for those who zoomed in. Remember to subscribe and remember to catch us on our socials at Front Sports. For myself, Gamzambata, until we meet again in a week's time. Peace.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Good night. Good night. Good night. Have a lovely evening.
Good night.
We'll chat on WhatsApp.
Bye.